Welcome to Just a Growing Boy. I'm your host, Jelani. Today, we're going to be making parmesan encrusted chicken with fresh fettucine. Now, pasta is actually pretty simple. You're going to need at least 3 cups of flour and at least 4 eggs. I would recommend more though, in case you mess up. You're going to want to wash your hands, which I already did. And you're also going to want to have a clean, flat workspace. You're going to take 3 cups of flour and just dump it right on. Now, as you can see, we've got our flour. You're going to want to make a well in the middle of it, like you're digging a well for a village in Africa. Only you're not going to fill this with water. Oh no, you're going to fill it with something even better. Eggs! I always crack my eggs. Make sure your utensils are clean. I always crack my eggs into a clean container. So that way, if they're bad, they don't ruin the whole thing. This egg's nice and clean, so we're going to dump it into the well, and it really doesn't look like my well is big enough. So I'm just going to try and push away the sides. And maybe push it up so it's a little stronger. Make sure not to get any shell in there, because otherwise you're going to be eating your pasta and eat something crunchy and disgusting. It's going to be your fault. Alright, so the egg's overflowing a bit, so we're just going to start beating it in. We're going to add more egg later. You want to start breaking the egg. Zoom in.
It is.
You want to start breaking the egg and slowly incorporating more and more flour. As you can see, the well is getting a bit better. So, I'm going to try and crack another egg in there. If it's overflowing a bit, just start mixing it more with the flour. And this is really turning until eventually it's probably going to get too thick. Not probably, it's definitely going to get too thick for you to stir with a fork. And that's when you're going to get your hands dirty. Unless you're a mafia boss and you have other people doing this work for you. Oh god, it's disgusting. This isn't working out too well, so to save it, we're going to add another egg. And you just want to incorporate it with the flour. And just mix the two, and just kind of, just mix them. It doesn't hurt to add it when you're adding the eggs. You're going to want to add just a splash of olive oil, just a little bit of salt. If the dough is sticking to your hands, you can put your hands in a bit of flour, like you would put your hands in a bit of chalk dust if you were a gymnast. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a gymnast. So, you want to knead the dough. Just kind of flip it over, and then flip it over and press it with the heel of your hand, and then flip it over, and then flip it over. Sorry, I got a little carried away. And you want to make sure that the surface you're kneading it on is well floured. You also want to make sure your hands are well floured. Now once you've got this nice ball of dough, you're going to want to let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes. You want to just wrap it, plastic wrap, and let it sit in the refrigerator. We're going to use chicken breasts for this. I suppose you could use chicken thighs, but you'd have to modify the recipe a bit and probably cook them a little longer. But for starters, we're going to pound out these chicken breasts. First, you want to wrap them in plastic wrap. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I recently moved a few months ago and I still haven't found everything. So, ideally you would use like a meat mallet. That's not what it's called. A meat tenderizer. But my meat tenderizer is still in storage. I haven't unpacked everything. My pasta maker is still in storage. My phone charger is still in storage. So, you just want to get to tenderizing this. I'm using a small saucepan. You just want to beat it. You just want to beat the crap out of it. Our chicken breast is nice and flat. You want to start preparing the bread. You're going to want to set up 3 plates. On the first plate, put a little bit of flour, a little bit of pepper, and a little bit of salt. You're going to want to add a bit of egg. You just want to break the eggs. On the last plate, you're going to want to mix breadcrumbs. You can use seasoned ones or unseasoned ones. Now if you want, you can make breadcrumbs just by toasting some bread until it's like really dry and really toasty, and it's so toasty that you'd never just straight up eat it. And then you just kind of rip it up or blend it up if you can. Or you can just go to your local grocery store and buy them. That's what I did. You're going to want to mix the breadcrumbs with some grated parmesan. You're going to want to melt a little bit of butter and a little bit of olive oil in a skillet over like medium heat, I guess. In the meantime, you want to unwrap your chicken breast like a present on Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. Look at that, look at that. So there's no point in doing it. So you want to dip it in the flour and the salt and pepper first. And just coat it liberally. Not like Texas. And then you want to dip it in the egg wash. And then, this is triple dip, baby. You want to dip it in the Parmesan and breadcrumbs. And we're just going to wait for that skillet to heat up. Now, when your oil is melted and the butter is brown, it's probably ready. You can test by putting in a slightly smaller piece of chicken. And if it sizzles, the oil is ready. Yummy. Delicious. You can even use tongs flipping it over. I think it really helps. You just want to flip it over when it's got this nice brown crust on it. Like a comparison shot. Here it is uncooked. Here it is partially cooked. Since it's been soaking in oil, it's going to be a little greasy. So you just want to set it on a bed of paper towels, or I don't have any paper towels, so I'm using a Whole Foods bag, a paper grocery bag basically. And you just want to rip it up so it fits your plate or your bowl or your crucible. And you want to make sure you're not using the side with ink on it, because otherwise you'll get ink on your food. Put a pot of water onto boil for the pasta. So, our dough is chilled for 20 minutes to half an hour. So we're going to prep it for rolling out. Start with a well-floured surface, because you don't want this sticking to the surface, because otherwise it's going to be really annoying. Now, you should use a rolling pin, but I don't know where mine is. So I'm going to use a cylindrical object, this cup. It was made in the USA. Regardless of what you use, you need to make sure that it is coated with flour so it does not stick to your dough. The way you want to roll it out is you want to go up, down, left, right, and it doesn't hurt to rotate it or flip it over. Now that your pasta is in a nice wide shape, you're going to want to take a knife. Make sure it's a little floury so it doesn't stick. And cut it into a bit of a more rectangular shape. I don't mean, alright. So we're going to fold the pasta over so you can cut it. Our noodles, look at that cross section. They're a little thick, but I like them thick. And you're just going to make sure at the edge of your blade is floured. And just cut. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, look at that. Man. I'm just gonna set that aside. I'm just gonna cut it. When your water is boiling away nicely, you just want to slide the pasta in. Alright, so here's our pasta, and I must say, it looks delicious. I really want to eat it, but I'm not going to. Put a little sauce on it. I don't like tomato sauce. I just have on here butter, a little bit of salt. Bon appetit!